Good morning, family, and welcome back once again to another Talk conversation. My youngest daughter, Brianna, is getting married this year, and I was having one of those reflective moments, if you will, of all the time and energy that me and my wife have poured and put into her. You know, being the baby girl, she gets more than most because we've learned from our mistakes with the first two children. And so she's gotten a lot more, but I'm just kind of reflecting on all the things that we poured into her to make her a beautiful, successful young lady. And so when you reflect on that, you just have to really look at all the things that you did and all the things that you gave to her. And so I started looking at all the love that I poured into her, me and my wife. I started looking at all the times I allowed her to hug me and to kiss me and to lay on me without fighting her. I just take it, just take it. Go ahead, just just knock me over with a kiss. But all the times I kissed her and hugged her and allowed her to cry on my shoulder, I'm just looking and reflecting on all those moments that make up this individual that's called my daughter, this beautiful young lady now, that's well structured, that's well sound. How we raised her in church and we made sure that church was in her. I mean, it's just a blessing when you get your daughters to a certain age and you realize that they can be independent without you, always needing you, but at the same time, always leaving you because that's what it's all about. It's about them cleaving to whoever God has blessed them with. And he's blessed her with a beautiful young man. His name is Jonathan. And so, I had to go vet him out. I told my friends that once my daughters get married, I'm going to come get all of them, all my brothers, and we're going to go and, we're going to really make this guy really sweat. Well, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. But I did vet him out. It's important to know who's going to take your daughter on for the rest of her life. And so it was important for me to meet him and to spend some quality time with him, doing different things, not just sitting down at a restaurant, but just doing different things together. That's important to have that vetting process. And then it's important for me to meet his mother and his father. And we did that. I mean, we've done that. And what a beautiful moment. I mean, what a beautiful time well spent. And my daughter had a chance to spend time with the siblings and to interact with them, to vet them out. Now, this is the most important piece here is that when your daughter marries him, guess what? She marries them. Now, you got to ask yourself the question, who is them? Well, it's the mother and the father. It's the siblings. It's the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, people that you haven't met. You probably never will meet. But it's also his friends. Yeah. And for her, it's her friends, for him. But it's all them that you will probably never know. Who was this community that helped raise them, this village, if you will, that helped raise this young man. Now he's a great young man, don't get me wrong. I love him. He's a great young man. I think it's going to be great for my daughter. But it's good to understand who is them? Who is a part of this whole package when she marries him? Who is them? And what are they like? Because we all got a knucklehead in the family or two. We all got somebody who makes part of our family dysfunctional. And so I'm kind of a control freak. And so I like to know all of them. Well, that's going to be impossible. But that's what I like to do is know them. And that's why this conversation is titled, watch this, Don't Marry That Family. Now, I'm going to tell you the family that I'm talking about. It's not this family. This family is beautiful. This is my family. My wife told me the other day that, we're going to all go somewhere together. And then we're going to invite Jonathan too. And she says, we are all going somewhere. I said, well, Jonathan's a part of we now. I mean, when you say we, he's just included. It's inclusive. And so that's where we are now. We're headed to this matrimony one day, and it's going to be a beautiful thing. But I'm reflecting on individuals who marry into a family that they should marry into. So that can be a sad state. But before I get there, let me tell you this. I have picked up this bad habit, if you will. It's a habit of shopping on Amazon.com. Since the pandemic, oh, wow. I mean, they made it so easy for us to just pick up your phone and to just look through it. You know how we used to go to Walmart when Walmart first opened? I mean, that was it. I mean, that was our everything. I mean, you can get produce over here. You can get clothes in this aisle. You can get tools to work on your house. You can get things for your automobile. You can get products for your bathroom. I mean, they had everything. They still have everything. But Amazon, Oh, Amazon is Walmart, Sam's, Kmart, you name it, Kroger, Target, all those stores, plus, 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 plus. And so they've got everything. And so I'm addicted to going on and shopping for stuff that I want, stuff that I like. Watch this, a bunch of stuff I don't need. I mean, that's where we are. A bunch of stuff I don't need. And then when you finally get the stuff that you've ordered and some of the stuff you don't like, you don't need, it's not quite what you thought it was, you can return it to sender. You can simply push a button and return it to sender. Watch this, free of charge. That's how awesome it is. You don't have to leave your house. I mean, that product will come to your doorstep. What you don't like, you take it now over to your store, UPS or whoever it might be, to send it back. But what a beautiful thing. My daughter's told me the other day, she says, Daddy, you don't have to keep buying all this stuff and then sending it back. Just go read the reviews. I want you to remember that word, reviews. Go read the reviews. That's what we focus on right now. Go read the reviews, because the reviews is like a community of people who purchased that product previously, and they wrote some comments about the product. And so that way you can go read the reviews. You can understand if the product is worth you buying or spending your time really messing around with it. Some of you are treating your relationships like packages from Amazon. Let me say it again. Some of you are treating your relationships like packages from Amazon that you can return your wife or your husband or your friends to sender or to the owner of the seed of that individual if you're not satisfied. See, that's where we are. That's why the divorce rate is so high. It's because we feel like we can just send someone back if they don't satisfy, if we're not pleased with them, just if we have a little hiccup. That's why I told you, you better vet out everyone. And before you say, I do, you better vet everyone out. And you wouldn't have this problem if you think about it. If you were to read the reviews about your boyfriend, about your girlfriend, about your fiance, if you were to read the reviews, you ask me, Donnie, what reviews? Well, think about this for a moment. Your intuition. I mean, come on. Don't discount your intuition. Your instincts are not to be ignored. I mean, if you feel something's off, then something's off. And then you now have what I call social media. Oh, wow. As an option. I mean, how powerful is that? You can read about someone all day long because everyone's on Facebook or on the Instagram or on Twitter. I mean, everybody's using some type of social media platform. So you have all this additional information. And the most important reviews comes from your family and friends because they're going to vet out that individual thoroughly. Yeah, they're going to see stuff that you wouldn't even think of seeing because you're smitten. Yeah, your nose is wide open. I mean, you're in love. You're in lust. And so you're going to miss some things. But your family, your friends, I mean, your real friends, oh, no, 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 no. They're going to see stuff and they're going to tell you about stuff that you should be aware of. And that's a beautiful thing because you don't need to miss anything, especially with someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. No, no, hold up. Now, hold up. That rascal, come on. That young lady, they're not going to be perfect. But you would need to know everything you can before you go into this particular union. Apostle Paul tells us that we should not be unequally yoked together with anyone who's not a believer. He says, don't mess with unbelievers. And so you got to make sure that you're being yoked with someone who believes like you, someone who understands the difference between righteousness and unrighteousness. Yeah, because see, we don't have no fellowship when you think about it. Like light doesn't have one with darkness, and Jesus don't have one with the devil. And so you shouldn't have a relationship with someone who's unequally yoked. No, someone who's not a believer. You need to make sure that that person has the same system, the same belief system that you have. And then Moses tells us that neither shall thou make marriages with them. Listen to this, them. Now he's talking about those Hittites and the Jebusites and the Amorites back in the Old Testament when the Lord told them, kill them all, get rid of all of them. He says, and don't let your daughters marry their sons, and don't let your sons marry their daughters. He said, don't flirt with them. No, don't lust after them, and don't mix with them. You see, it's important. The institution of marriage. God says, don't mess up your life by messing with the wrong people. Don't marry that family, is what God told them. Marrying is the most important thing you will ever do, next to giving your life to Jesus Christ. It is the most important thing besides that. The most important thing. And here we are Sometimes we just, I don't know, sometimes we lose it. We're trying to provoke our children, young children, to go out and start dating. Yeah, dating. So, because we're scared that they're going to miss something, miss out on something. We're scared that they're going to be left alone. And we're telling them to go date. And guess what? We haven't equipped them. We haven't educated them about relationships. We just want them to go out there and not tell them all the pros and cons. Just bump into it head on. It's like giving them a loaded gun without instruction. They're going to hurt somebody. They're going to hurt themselves. That's why pregnancy come up. Yes, unplanned, unwanted pregnancies come up because you didn't educate them. Now you said stuff like, you better not get pregnant. Oh, what is that statement? You better not, you better not, you better not get pregnant. Come on, that's the first thing I'm going to try to do is, have some fun. Because you're not teaching me the basics. You're not teaching me the pros and the cons. You're not teaching me the ins and the outs. You're not teaching me that it is pleasurable. But guess what? It's deadly also. It can be harmful. During the wedding ceremony, the pastor will ask the attendees, who are normally the close friends of the bride and the bridegroom, he makes a statement, should anyone here present know of any reason that this couple should not be joined in holy matrimony, speak now or forever hold your peace. Let me tell you what happens. The room goes silent. Everyone's quiet, wondering who's bold enough to say something now at this late hour. And that's a good point, because let me tell you what should happen. Before the wedding, that's when that vow should be said. That's when that statement should be made. Yes, before the wedding. Your friends, your family should spill all the tea. Don't wait till later. This is when all the vetting process comes out. I told you, you're smitten, you're in love, so you can't see stuff. This is the time when they're dating. This is the time not to hold your peace. No. Tell it all. I told you, spill the tea. Your family, your friends, yeah. They should see everything that they need to see. Does this rascal have a job? I mean, when was the last time he had a job? Does he have good credit? Does he have any credit? I mean, sometimes it's best to have bad credit if you ain't got no credit. Does this rascal like to drink too much? Does he like to party too much? Has he been to jail? Has he been to prison? Is he a cheater? Who was his last two girlfriends? How did he treat them? I mean, does he use drugs? Is he a hater? I mean, and when it comes to the young lady, I mean, who are her sisters? I mean, are they crazy? Do they cuss like sailors? Do they drink like loose women? I mean, we need to know this stuff. The family, are they ambitious or are they lazy? I mean, do they believe in witchcraft? Are they just talking negative all day long? This is important stuff to know. See, when you vet a family, you need to know everything about that family, because you want your daughter, you want your sons to be successful in their marriage. We marry what we want, not what we need. There goes the problem. We marry what we want, not what we need. Our children are just like us. They're chip off the old block. So they follow after our pattern. They marry what they like. Yes, they do. They marry what their friends like. They marry what their culture, what their generation like. They marry what their idols like, if they're role models. They marry what celebrities and what professional athletes like. It's like they don't have a mind of their own. They marry what their sisters, they like, and marry what their sisters and brothers like. You see, sin makes us want what we don't need, and what we need, we don't want. Let me say it again. Sin makes us want what we don't need, and what we need, we don't want. Adam and Eve didn't need to mess with that tree in the middle of the garden. No, they didn't. They had every tree, all the trees that they ever could want, right in front of them. I told you, we want what we don't need, and what we need, we don't want. See, they were disrespectful. Yes. They had a respect of that tree in the midst of the garden more than they had a respect for the trees right in front of them. I remember I went to buy a car one time, and at a certain price that I wanted to pay for the car, and this salesman was showing me all these cars. And so I went ahead and went with one that he was showing me because it was a new model. Looked at the package, it was beautiful. I said, well, my boy's going to like this car. My wife's going to love this car. I mean, look at that package. Wow. I mean, it's just tight. And I got that car home, and let me tell you something. That transmission, that engine was no good. I had to fight that company, try to take that car back for years. See, I was looking at the outside package. I'll never forget one time I was buying this TV from this guy who was selling TVs. Now, when you find someone selling TVs on the side of the street, you better be very careful. He had this TV in this big old pretty box. And I said, boy, I want that TV. Looking at the package on the outside. I didn't even look at the TV on the inside. And when I got the TV, the box home, it was a box full of rocks. That's all it was. A box full of rocks. I bought a nice looking box. Let me tell you something. Packages look good on the outside, but you better check that product on the inside. Sometimes when you meet a young lady, her grandmama fine, her mama fine, she fine, her sister's fine, the aunts are fine. I mean, the whole family is fine. And you're looking at that package on the outside. But guess what? They can't boil water. They can't boil water to save their life. I mean, they're all divorced. They all have control issues. And see, all you see is that pretty little wrap package on the outside. They don't have no credit. Forget about bad credit. They have no credit at all. They all have children with absentee fathers. But your son, let me tell you what your son is doing. Your son is just like you. He's visual. And he's looking at the physical, those tight jeans, if you will, that she's wearing, and she looks good in them. Yes, she does. And then he's looking at those hips that's got his attention. And he's looking at those boobs that look heavenly. That's what he's looking at. I'm going to tell you. Then he's looking at those thick lips that look so succulent and those pretty eyes that has him hypnotized. But your job is to educate him. Yeah. See, that's our job. Is to educate him that flesh can't raise your children. That flesh can't nurse your babies. No. That flesh, can't be a mommy to your family. Can't. As a matter of fact, that flesh that you're looking at, it can't be your wifey. No. That flesh will never nurture your family. That flesh doesn't have a value system, has no morals. That flesh doesn't have a brain inside of it. Looks good on the outside, but doesn't have anything of value on the inside. And that's where we are. We need to make sure that what we're hitching up with has value on the inside. That's what's going to carry you into having a beautiful family, into having a beautiful marriage. It's what she has on the inside. What have you put inside of your daughters on the inside? What have you put inside of your son on the inside? So when they meet my daughter meets someone who has some tools, who has some values, if you will, who has some morals, who has some tools in their toolbox, just like she does, that they can work on something together, and not her pulling on him all the time and trying to get him to do something because guess what? Because he has mommy issues. No. You don't want to send that out into the world because your son has mommy issues. He needs to correct those issues before he meets my daughter. And you don't need my daughter having daddy issues to where she's always pulling on your son and hoping that he can be her father and her husband. Come on, that's too much. That's way too much for any young man to take on. Now, as he get older, they can work through that stuff. That's why therapy is prescribed for everybody. We've got so many families that don't have a father in it, don't have a mother in it. And if they are in it, they're absentee within the family structure. And so now we have all these children going and hooking up, trying to find someone who their father, who their father should be. They're trying to find someone to be a father and a husband. And I'm telling you, that's too much stress on any young man, on any young woman to be a mother and a wife. Yeah, to you. She can't even get to her children because she's trying to mother you. What a shame. Women, teach your sons. Fathers, teach your sons. Be careful where you plant your seed. Be careful where you sow your seeds. Women, what happened? What happened to where your sons now don't want to have nothing to do with someone who's like you? I mean, your sons are running in the opposite direction, trying to find someone who's totally different than you. I remember a time where people would make statements like, boy, he married his mama. It was a beautiful thing. But now you can't find any son who wants to marry someone like his mother. We have a problem. It's not a race thing. It's not a color thing. I mean, you got all kinds of things in your head saying why. So he wants a trophy wife. Well, okay, maybe some of that stuff is true. But why is he veering so far from you? I mean, what are you teaching him? What are you pouring into him? Are you being that feminine woman that he would love to have? Are you being that type of woman who really shares things with him of who he should be and what he should be looking for? Or are you the type of woman who's crying on your son like he's your husband? See, that's wrong. He can't handle that. He's seeing all your brokenness. And don't get me wrong, he should see some stuff, but not all that stuff. You can't talk to him like he's a grown man and like he's your husband. And so all the stuff you're telling him, Guess what? It's making him want to run further away from anything like you. That's what you're doing. You think you're equipping him. You think you're telling him something about his father. No, no, no. What you're doing is you're telling him, you're giving him a resume of what not to marry. That's what you're doing. You're hurting yourself. See, it's time out. When will we start submitting to what the Word of God tells us to do? And when will we start, husbands, start loving and dying to our wives the way the Word of God tells us to do? Women, let me tell you something. And this is just simply a side note for you. Your husband, your man, is created in the image of God. And he has to suppress all this warrior spirit that God has given him to be competitive, to protect you, to fight for you, to die for you if he have to. That's what's inside of him. But he has to suppress himself. He has to decrease in a marriage. He has to decrease because if he kept increasing, he'd puff up too big for you. Oh, he'd destroy the family structure. So he's suppressing himself. So that he can die to himself, so that he can be in that marriage with you. But when you're not submitting, when you're puffing up, as he's trying to suppress himself, you're trying to increase yourself. And guess what? Now he wants to jump out of that suppressing himself, and he wants to buck up against you strongly. You can't handle him. What's wrong with you submitting to a man who's trying to do the right thing? See, if your sons were seeing that, oh my gosh, you submitting to your husband, calling him Lord. I mean, come on. If he could see that, if your daughters could see your husband, he's suppressing all this inside of him to be a nice man, to be a good man, to be a family man, to be a man that every woman cherishes. But we've got it all wrong. See, we've allowed this world to flip things upside down. You don't want to submit. He don't want to love and die to you. Oh no, and for you. That's what's happening. And our children are seeing all this twisted mess. That's what the devil does. See, he's got things going around in circles and cycles. And it just keeps repeating itself. Somewhere along the way, we should be better. We should be better by now. We should be a whole lot better by now, but we're not. Wow. When you marry him, you marry them. Sometimes it's not so much the mother and father who's raising that daughter or that son. Sometimes it's the siblings who's raising, yes, that daughter. Sometimes it's an aunt across town who's pouring more into their daughter, who's influencing their daughter. Sometimes it's a teacher. See, you need to know who that individual is. You need to check them out, vet them too, because sometimes that's what's poured into her. She's ignoring her family. He's ignoring his father, but someone is getting in his ear. Gang members. I mean, somebody's in there. Isn't it something? All the work you pour into your daughter, and she brings home a thug to marry. Wow. How did that happen? All the information, all the time you spend with your son, and he brings a girl home who just got off the strip pole last night. Wow. How did that happen? Yeah. Be careful. Yeah. When you marry him, you marry them. We're told to train up our child. Train them up when they're young. Yeah. That's your responsibility. Train them up how to be married. Yeah. How to be a wife, how to be a husband, how to be a believer, how to walk away, to separate themselves away from unbelievers. Because your child is going to be just like you. Your child has that same lust, that same temptation running through their head. Yeah, they want to experience some things. They want some body counts like their friends. Sad, but that is so true. They're going to test the waters, and they're going to bump their head. They're going to get an STD. They're going to break up a relationship because they couldn't hold themselves. That's what's going to happen. But when they are old, they will not depart from your teaching, because your teaching should be full of what I call a healthy believer's lifestyle. That's what your teaching should be. It should be an example of a healthy marriage. It should be the example of a healthy relationship. And when I say relationships, I'm talking about that circle around you, your family, your friends. That's a relationship they should see being healthy around you. And all the people who you bring into your circle should be pouring into your children. See, that's what makes a healthy relationship for them as they go out and meet other healthy relationships. They're not looking for bad relationships. But when all they see is an unhealthy relationship within the family structure, then that's what they go out and attach themselves to. See, you can hide from the world, but you can't hide a bad relationship, a bad family structure from your children. They need to see it all. Stop hiding from them. Fathers, your responsibility is to keep your daughter off that strip pole. I'm telling you, that's your responsibility. Don't let her get up there. Keep her off of that pole. Your job as a father is not done. It's to love your daughter. It's to show her how to love a man and how to be loved by a man. That's your responsibility. Mothers, your responsibility is to love your son and to show him how to love a woman, to love on a woman. See, fathers, your job is to make sure your daughter is a lady, and women to make sure your son is a gentleman. Some of you don't want to hear this, but some of you, I'm sorry, you might be parents with children, but you're bad parents. And you need someone else to come in and help you with your children. See, that's where you have an aunt or you have someone else around who you can really allow your child to spend some time with because you don't care. I mean, you don't have no desire to be better. And honesty is the best policy. I mean, humility is a great policy to let someone else come in and help out. Because you probably have a great daughter, a great son. They just need some better imaging in front of them. They just need someone else who has a better structure that can teach them. And that's your responsibility. It's to let someone teach them who can really pour into them. Because you should be teaching them how to be a wife and how to be a husband. And if you can't, let someone else do it. I've been asked quite often, how did you come about to have a successful marriage? And I tell people, it was really no instructions. We just kind of bump into this thing, if you will. It's not luck. I mean, because it's hard work to be a success story. But what we did was we fought and then we loved. We fought and then we loved. We fought and then we loved. And guess what? And guess what? We kept fighting until we started understanding that, guess what? I know what gets up under her skin. She knows what gets up under my skin. The one thing we never did was we never quit. Oh, we thought about it, but we never quit. We stayed together. Yeah, we figured each other out long enough, yes, to make this thing work. So we decided in the midst of everything we go through to respect one another. See, that's it. When you lose respect, guess what? You lose the marriage. Mothers, fathers, our job is to be what you want your children to bring. Don't marry that family. You need to be that family so that your children can bring that family. You be blessed.